Well, it's Tuesday again, and you know what that means. Another episode of TV Tuesdays. Hello YouTube and welcome back. I'm Nico, and you're watching Dare to Game. Today we will be doing a season retrospective review for Game of Thrones Season 3. I know, the pattern may be getting a bit predictable, but let's just get right into it. We'll start off with a brief synopsis of the season, episode by episode. As always, beware, for huge story spoilers for Season 3 of Game of Thrones lie ahead. Episode 1, Valar Dohaeris. In King's Landing, Tyrion gets no respect for his victory in the Battle of Blackwater, and instead is relinquished of his role of the Hand of the King, which is given to his father, Tywin. Davos Seaworth is rescued after the Battle of Blackwater, and tries to kill Melisandre to stop the hold she has over Stannis. Daenerys travels to the city of Astapor to purchase an army of highly skilled warriors called the Unsullied. While there, she is almost served poison wine, but is saved by Sir Barristan Selmy, who served in the King's Guard under her father, the Mad King. Episode 2, Dark Wings, Dark Words. In King's Landing, Joffrey plans for his upcoming wedding to Margaery Tyrell. He shows her his new crossbow, and says that he would love to see her kill something with it. Bran has a dream in which he can walk around and is trying to kill a three-eyed crow. A boy he has never met before appears and tells him he cannot kill the crow. The boy turns out to be Jojen Reed, a clairvoyant who believes Bran is very special. Theon, meanwhile, has been captured and tortured by unnamed men. One of them promises to help him, when the others are sleeping. Arya Stark and her two friends are captured by men claiming to be of the Brotherhood Without Banners. Bran of Tarth and Jaime Lannister, who are bound for King's Landing, are captured by Roose Bolton's bannermen and taken prisoner. Episode 3, Walk of Punishment. In King's Landing, Tywin Lannister makes plans to wed Peter Baelish to Lysa Arryn to prevent the Starks from gaining more followers. He also appoints Tyrion to the position of Master of Coin to replace Baelish. Theon Greyjoy escapes from his captors and is saved by the cleaning boy who had previously offered to help him. Daenerys offers to pay for the Unsullied army with one of her dragons, also taking Missandei, translator from the Kittanese Mole Naklaz, God those words are hard to pronounce, owner of the Unsullied, as a token of faith. Beyond the wall, Jon Snow and his group of wildlings plan to climb the wall and attack the Night's Watch. Locke and the rest of Roose Bolton's men take Brienne and Jaime back to their camp. They threaten to rape Brienne, but Jaime convinces them not to. He then presses his Locke by offering to pay Locke for his freedom. Locke responds by chopping off Jaime's right hand. Episode 4, and now his watch is ended. Theon escapes with the cleaning boy who saved him, only to realize it was all a cruel joke, and he is back where he started to be tortured again. Meanwhile, the men of the Night's Watch grow wary of living in Craster's Keep, where they are treated poorly while Craster eats well. They begin a mutiny against Craster and their own leader. Sam escapes along with one of Craster's daughter wives, Gilly, and her newborn child. Arya and Gendry are taken to the secret cave of the Brotherhood Without Banners, where they meet their leader, Beric Dondarrion, who later sentences the Hound to trial by combat. Daenerys trades her dragon for the army of Unsullied warriors, only to immediately order her dragon to burn their leader alive. She then has the Unsullied murder their masters and frees them to fight for her, if they are willing. Episode 5, Kissed by Fire. In King's Landing, Tywin Lannister plans to wed Tyrion to Sansa Stark and Cersei to Loras Tyrell, despite their protests of both pairings. The Hound kills Beric Dondarrion in trial by combat and wins his freedom. However, Beric is brought back to life by a prayer to the Lord of Light. After being delivered to Roose Bolton, Jaime confesses to Brienne why he killed the Mad King. Robb Stark plans to make amends with Walder Frey, even though he disobeyed his promise to marry one of Frey's daughters. Episode 6, The Climb. No, it's not about Miley Cyrus. In King's Landing, Littlefinger reveals to Lord Varys that he knows the prostitute Raz is working as a spy for him. He also reveals that he has given Raz over to Joffrey, who murders her with a crossbow. Robb Stark tries to make up for his marriage to Talisa by offering his uncle Edmure to Walder Frey's daughter in his stead. Jon, Ygritte, and the wildlings climb the wall successfully, but lose many of their men in the process due to an avalanche. Episode 7, The Bear and the Maiden Fair. Theon's mysterious torturer has him castrated, while Arya runs away from the Brotherhood Without Banners, but is captured by the Hound, who is hiding outside. Melisandre reveals to Gendry that he has king's blood, and he agrees to go with her back to Dragonstone. Jaime leaves to return to King's Landing, but after hearing that Brienne is still trapped, he returns to his captors. There, he finds that she has been put in a pit and made to fight a bear with a wooden sword. He jumps down to protect her, and the two escape safely. Episode 8, Second Sons. King's Landing sees the wedding of Tyrion Lannister and Sansa Stark. During the ceremony, Joffrey is very cruel to both of them, and Tyrion gets very drunk and makes a scene. In Dragonstone, Melisandre seduces Gendry and uses leeches to take his blood, which she uses for another spell. Daenerys visits a city called Yunkai, where she gains a new follower named Daario Naharis. On the wall, Sam and Gilly are attacked by a White Walker, which Sam unexpectedly kills with a dragonglass spearhead that he found earlier last season. Episode 9, The Rains of Castamere. Sam and Gilly arrive at the wall, where Bran and friends are hiding. During a thunderstorm, Bran tries to calm down Hodor and accidentally enters his mind. Jon Snow is found out to be a spy for the Night's Watch, and must escape after killing some of the wildling men. Daario Naharis, the leader of the Unsullied, Grey Worm, and Jorah Mormont infiltrate Yunkai, where they take over the city for Daenerys. Edmure marries Walder Frey's daughter, but during what would become known as the Red Wedding, the Starks are betrayed. Talisa, who is pregnant, is murdered along with her baby still in the womb. Robb and Catelyn are also brutally murdered, making this an extremely memorable and, frankly, terrifying scene to witness. Episode 10, Misa, and I know what you're thinking, but it has nothing to do with Gungans. After witnessing part of what happened to her mother and brother at the Red Wedding, Arya is taken by the Hound to safety. On the way, she overhears a man making fun of her deceased brother, and she kills him. Yara, Theon's sister, takes a fleet of ships to recapture Theon from his torturer, who has turned him into a pitiful slave, Reek. Sam arrives at Castle Black and warns the witch about the White Walkers and the mutiny at Craster's Keep. Ygritte finds Jon Snow and fills him full of arrows for betraying her, but is unable to kill him due to her love for him. Across the Narrow Sea, the freed slaves of Yunkai show their loyalty to Daenerys by saying Misa, which is where the name of this comes from. So we kept that short and sweet. But that is a decent short summary of the Season 3 of Game of Thrones. Now that we are all refreshed on the happenings of Season 3, let's get into character discussion. Who do we like? Who do we hate? And who are we not quite sure about? So as always, we'll start with the characters I like. And to start, I'll go with the Hound. The reason I'm starting here is because up until the second half of this season, I wasn't a big fan of him. I always thought he had potential, but then when he was going on about how much he likes killing people in the second season, my hopes were tempered. However, in this season, he became a character that I quite enjoy. Jaime Lannister joins the ranks of characters that I like in this season. Once he had his hand chopped off, he became a bit more human, and that is all it took for his charisma to take root. I like the back and forth he has with Brienne, and I look forward to seeing more of him in Season 4. Samwell Tarly is another character that has started to grow on me. He seems to have a decent sense of humor, a good moral compass, and when he has something to fight for, he can muster bravery. He is also very loyal to his friends and brothers on the wall. Despite the many disadvantages he has, he draws a lot of strength from his knowledge which he gained from reading a lot of books. Returning from last season as characters that I really like, we have Davos Seaworth, maintaining his high image in my opinion due to all the same reasons I gave last time. He is loyal, honest, trustworthy, and stands up for what he believes in no matter the consequences. Another troupe of returning characters consists of the dynamic trio seen in Bronn, Tyrion, Lannister, and Podrick, the loyal squire. Again, I like these characters for the same reasons as before. Good sense of humor, decent people, straightforward, and in the case of Tyrion, a genuine desire to do good by the people in his life. Next up, let's look at those characters that straddle the lines, and I haven't quite accepted into one camp or the other. For starters, we have Shae. With this character, I would really like to like her. However, I find that her reluctance to accept the reality that staying in King's Landing is not only likely to get herself killed, but has the potential to hurt Tyrion in many ways, very distasteful. When Varys offered her the diamonds to get herself out of the country before too late, he was doing a magnanimous act that would have greatly benefited her, Tyrion, and the realm. However, she proved too irrational and prideful to take it, and I can almost guarantee that that decision will come back to bite her, and possibly many others in the end. Another character that straddles the line for me is Arya Stark. This one, however, straddles the line more towards characters that I like. I find most, if not all, of her faults can be attributed to the fact that she is very young and has been through many traumatic experiences in a relatively short period of time. But, for all that, She has proven herself more intelligent than many of her family members, and I hope this trend continues in future episodes. Another character on the rise, in my opinion, is Jon Snow. He is finally becoming a character that I enjoy when on screen, and I think I will end up liking him. He is finally learning to be a little less dense and getting a grasp on reality. He handled his captivity situation quite well, and showed quite a bit of strength and intelligence to get out of it. I also like how he is one of the few characters in the show that won't just blindly kill someone for his own image or because someone told him to. Lastly, we have characters that I hate, and for this category we can get the returning champions out of the way right away. My hatred for Cersei Lannister and Joffrey still burns strong in Season 3. Although Joffrey is slightly more manageable when being manipulated by Marjorie Tyrell, I still hate pretty much everything about him, and I want him to die. Cersei maintains her character in this season with little or no changes in most regards. She is still a power-hungry, manipulative sociopath that will kill or torment nearly anyone for any reason whatsoever. In addition to these characters, Season 3 brought some new faces that I would love to punch. Starting off this roster, we have Walder Frey. I knew I wasn't going to like him, and I was right. The Red Wedding was not something I was a fan of, and his cowardice and treachery were just about what I figured they would be in the end. The brutality of that scene was probably the most gruesome thing on Game of Thrones by this point, perhaps only being surpassed by the slaughter of the babies and other children of the king by Joffrey last season. I sure hope that either the Blackfish or Arya puts an end to that twat once and for all very soon. I also really don't like the Boltons. Although I despise Roose Bolton for his betrayal of the king at the Red Wedding, I think his bastard son Ramsay takes the cake in that family for characters I hate. He is sadistic, cruel, and quite clearly insane. Although I have no sympathy for Theon Greyjoy due to his terrible actions, two wrongs don't make a right, and Ramsay's actions in this season are disgusting to say the least. I also look forward to his end, whenever that may be. I hope that it is in a manner consistent to what he has done on screen so far. Although there are many more characters that I really don't like in the show, we'll keep it short and sweet, and just stick to the ones I've listed here for Season 3. For the last section of this video, we'll quickly talk houses. So as far as which house I like the most as a whole, and which one I would like to see find its way to the top after watching this season, I think my banner rests neatly within the Targaryen camp. I think that Daenerys will make a great queen. If nothing else, she is a far better option than anyone else in the game right now. And I think that so far, her actions across the Narrow Sea have shown that she is morally the obvious choice. And since now, she does not have any other people in her family staining the fabric, I am now officially Team Targaryen. As far as houses that I hate, and I would love to see burn, I'm still firmly anti-Lannister, seeing as I really hate Cersei and Joffrey. But due to Tywin's involvement in the planning of the Red Wedding, which I found to be wholly terrible, no argument, they have cemented themselves firmly as a house that I would love to see topple. I also have not changed my opinion of the Baratheons. I think that Stannis is a cancer in an otherwise inoffensive house, and I think that he alone is the reason I don't like Baratheons. A new addition to families I hate is, of course, the Boltons. Whether it's Roose murdering the Starks at a wedding in an attempt to pick the winning side of a war and establish himself as the new Warden of the North, or Ramsay and his sadistic torture and overall unlikable nature, I think it's safe to say that I feel no sadness for when they will all untimely meet their end. Overall, I would give Season 3 of Game of Thrones a rating of 7.5. Again, improving on many of the aspects of the previous seasons. The only wavering question I would have is the excessive, grotesque nature of the Red Wedding. I think that it exists for shock value alone, and that some of it, they could have achieved the same effect if it had been hinted at or used some innuendo instead of straight up showing us pregnant people being cut open and an entire wedding party just murdered. You know, I think that it maybe goes a little bit over the line, and for that, I'm not a huge fan of that scene, but other than that scene, this season was solid and I think stands on its own legs. Well, that's it for Season 3. As always, I invite you to join the discussion about this season in the comments section below. Who is your favorite or least favorite character currently in the story? What was your favorite thing to happen this season? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please, however, remember to be courteous and do not share any spoilers for anything past Season 3. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. If you did, I can assume you liked the content, and hopefully you'll subscribe and turn on the notification bell. If you haven't already, check out these links I have on the screen to see me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you like my content and would like to support what I do here, there's a link to my Patreon account in the description, and a donation would be much appreciated. In any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day.